Hello, everyone. Suzanne Taylor King here, live for the Productive and Prosperous Entrepreneur Coffee Chat. And we are here today with the incredible Susan Finn. I am lucky enough to call her a friend and collaborator in the Idea Lab community. She's one of our resident experts, and she's a digital marketing strategist helping entrepreneurs feel more productive and more prosperous. Welcome, Susan.
I'm so happy. Best day ever.
Well, anytime we get to hang out is awesome. But now we're hanging out live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. And for those of you catching the replay, please make sure you put hashtag replay, ask your questions in the comments, and Susan and I will both come back and check those comments. So let's dive in.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about first. I'm not even quite sure how we met originally, which that's the beauty of being connected. But one of the things that I'm most proud of is attracting people like you to my community. And, I'm honored that you said yes to being an expert in the Idea Lab for entrepreneurs. And we have grown by over 50 members in the past 2 weeks.
Amazing.
Really exciting.
So exciting.
So maybe talk a little bit about what attracted you to really bringing your community from Facebook to the Idea Lab and collaborating in this way.
So having done what I do, right, digital marketing, it's not where I started. I won't go into the whole when I was 15 thing, but I will say that at some point I started a women's networking community. And at the time I wasn't doing digital marketing. I was doing it for myself. And I noticed the need for that. And so growing in community, and I know that's one of your core values, growing in community and generously giving so that others can learn, and you're basically taking people along with you, is one of my deepest core values. And when I met you, it was in Success Champions Network. When I met you there and I saw your energy and I came to some of your offerings, which, my goodness, so generous, but that's the whole thing. And we'll get into that. I know being generous and giving generously and shining your light so that you attract the people that you're meant to attract. And I do believe that we were meant to work together. And the more that I'm within your community, the more that I attend your events and interact with people, even one-on-one, I can see the people that you're attracting. And so that's why, I mean, I was still a little iffy, like, do I make this commitment to being an expert in this community? And I'm so happy that I did, because it's true. I just had a conversation with somebody who joined the community on my invitation recently, and I know that there's some pushback, right? Like, I know, another platform?
Yeah.
Another platform? But she experienced what I had hoped she would, and I know she will make a valuable contribution to the community. She experienced what I am experiencing, which is it's kind of next level in business terms, but also next level in relationship building.
Wow. I love that. I mean, that totally lights a fire under my butt just to make it even more of that. So like I'm thinking, wow, okay, yes. How do we make that the focal point? Is that, if you've done community before, if you've participated, if you've given value to a community. And my post today here on LinkedIn is all about that, most of the time community is created by someone with the purpose of selling their product or their service, right? So creating a space for either customers or prospects to learn more about what you do. And when I heard that, I said to myself, it's to be with like minds and to get the information you need that you don't know what to Google. You don't know what to search for, but maybe there's somebody who's been there and done that before you. Not necessarily. And that goes back to something I learned last year, that I don't necessarily want to be the guru on the stage talking at people and having them learn and pay me.
Right.
That's never been my goal. My goal has always been to kind of be the guide to getting people the information and the people that they need. Of course, I'm a coach too, but I feel like that's so much more rewarding, is helping people get on the right path. So thank you for saying that. Um, I don't know how we can verbalize that any better, but it'll come. It'll come, and I
Well, there's
think
2 things I'm thinking about when you say that. The first thing you're talking about, you don't know what to Google even, right? We don't even know what we don't know. And I
yeah.
think that's so much of it. Even in digital marketing, when I talk digital marketing, people are like, "Oh, you do social media?" Well, it's a little part of it, right? So it's like for me, a challenge in letting people know what I do is to let them know what are all the components of digital marketing and why that matters. Okay, now that you know that, how do you kind of put that aside and then show up as yourself? So
Mhm.
being in community and listening to other people's questions or hearing other people's stories opens up your mind and your experience so that you just learn, right? It's just exponential. And that's
Yeah.
why in the Facebook group that I've had for a number of years, in the Women's Business Network that I've had, and the membership groups that I've had, I am attracting people who are of a certain, I would say, heart centered, transformation creators, and they have such a difference to make in the world. And everyone has tried all the different things. And when you can come together and say, this worked for me, this didn't work for me. And when you can do it with a guide, like you're guiding your community, I've guided my community to say, yes, but don't forget, you said that your goal was such and such. Is that serving your goal? So to have a community, but then somebody also to like, whoop,
Mm.
pull you right back in.
I love that. I love the idea of, when the experts come together in community with just each other. That's one of the beautiful things that we can do for each other. And I think when you have people like that in your inner circle, um, y you learn things so much faster than if you were just out there on your own. And I know for me, that makes me feel more productive when I sit down to actually do the work that goes into all of this. It makes me feel more productive. It makes me feel like I'm working towards something instead of just throwing spaghetti at the wall. And I think
I love that
so
point.
many. Yeah.
What you said is when you sit down to do the work, you're reminded of why it is that you're doing that. And this is such a key point that I talk to my clients about because again, if I say digital marketing, sometimes Suzanne, there's I can see a physical like, "Ooh,"
Mm.
right? Like, oh, or
Mhm.
email marketing, oh, like I don't want to bother people. But here's the thing, what I tell them is I just ran a webinar on this this past week, is that to flip it to like similar to what you're saying, when you sit down to do the thing that's going to make you show up. Marketing is
Mhm.
basically just showing up. So anytime
Right.
you hear the word marketing, just say show up. How are you going to show up for the person who needs you today? Somebody woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, couldn't go back to sleep because they have something that's bothering them. What if they opened up their email and there was something from you? What if they read something on LinkedIn? And I know you're so good about putting like long form content in there that really feeds. So what you're doing is you're writing a love letter.
Mhm.
Every day you're writing a love letter to the person that needs to hear what you've already figured out or you've had help figuring out that you want to pass along.
Well, I love that perspective, because I don't write content just for content. I have to be motivated, inspired, on a mission to say something. And if I don't feel that way, I don't post that day. I just go interact with other people.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's through that engagement in my own community, in a couple other communities that I'm in, or just on social media with the people that I follow. Sometimes that gives me inspiration, or, you know, gives me a take on something that I hadn't thought of. And that's where today's post came from. Today's post came from looking at my engagement numbers in the community, seeing who was participating, when they were participating. I love numbers. I track my sleep and my food and my exercise and my steps every day. Numbers don't lie.
I love that.
And I was looking at engagement and who's who's posting, who's interacting, who's DMing, who's like creating in the community. And I literally took screenshots. And that's what inspired me today
Nice.
and made me feel productive at 6 a.m.
Yeah. It's so good. And here's
Mm.
another thing that you mentioned, and I had actually made a note about this to make sure to talk about it because I've been doing a lot of work this week. I won't get it like a lot of spiritual work, meditation work, listening to different um, leaders in that world. And what's coming through to me so strong this week is actually it's a conversation I had with my friend Joanne O'Neill a few months ago, which is the practice of active listening. So
Mm.
active listening is what I use when I'm talking with my clients, trying to help them figure out where their area of flow and joy is and what it is where they want to go so that we can shed the other stuff and really move towards there. But what you're practicing is an active listening or reading or paying attention within your
Mm.
community so that you can write your love letters or bring people into the conversation, make them feel included because they're
Mhm.
looking for you, right? Like
Mhm.
people are looking for community that's going to help them get on their journey.
Well, because the bottom line is for both of us on our missions, our mission is to empower people to, be that best version of themselves. Me with your business, you with marketing. And I think that's really the message of being more productive. You know, you have your goals, you have your mission, you have your values, all the things, but if you're so busy caught up in shiny objects, you can't possibly move forward towards your own goals. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about marketing in general and where people normally go sideways with their whether it's content or advertising, or that's traditional marketing. Attraction marketing, I love that topic, but people go sideways with
Yeah.
that. And what do you think brings them back when they work with you?
Um, so what I'm going to circle around to what brings them back and how do I work with people and content creation. I'm going to give a tip that is
Okay.
like me, it's like, whew. But when we're talking about the showing up and the hesitancy to show up and
Mhm.
how it's easier to do it in a supportive community, so much of that is around our ego, right? Like, are we? So think about that when you're doing the things, and I'll give you some things to do. When you're doing the things, are you doing it? Are you on Facebook? Do you have 15 tabs open? Are you spending a lot of time in there for your ego? Or is it for some purpose, right? And so
Mhm.
always keeping in mind what's your purpose. So we both work with coaches. And in my opinion, coaches need to build relationships first. It's very unlikely somebody's going to go to your website and sign up for your $3,000 program. Like you need to you got to
Wait,
date
can we say that again?
them, right? Like you've got
Social
to date them.
media,
They can't
right?
marry you. They can't marry you till they know you. And so
Yes.
what are you doing to
Yes.
support them and to make so
Yes.
maybe it's but keeping that in mind, if you're going to be doing those things, is it to just get more likes? Is it to feel good about yourself? Okay, so now I'm going to flip that. So if it's not about ego, if it's about showing up in service, then it's not really thinking about you. How do I grow my business? How do I do the things? It's really more about how do I show up and serve? How can I give the little nuggets that are going to draw the fish into my pond, is what I kind of think of, because I have a cute little fishing pond here. And here's the tip. You've heard it before, people have heard it before, but it's worth repeating. So first of all, it's not about you, it's about them. So they have questions. So your only job as far as marketing is to answer their questions.
Yes.
So the tip that I give, and this is like a little mini talk I give often, is to grab a pad of paper. Now I'm all digital, right? And I know you have your your electronic notepad, which might work. I don't know in this case, but I say take a pad of paper. For some reason, I always think of those yellow legal pads with the long. It was always so much fun to write on those. And then just write every question anyone has ever asked you about your business. Don't answer them yet. Just write every question anyone's asked you. Now go to your website, because you did some deep thinking when you made your website. Like, what are the questions you're answering on there? Write them in question form. Don't stop there. Put on your active listening, put on your spidey sense, and start listening to what people are asking you about the work you do. And you're still not done. Now, next time you're going to have dinner with your friends and family this weekend, ask them, what do you know about what I do? You're going to come up with a repository of questions that people are asking about you. So now you never have to get involved with that rabbit hole of social media to figure out what to post. You know what to post.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm not even, like, another time we'll talk about the search optimization juice involved with that. We'll talk about the trust that builds with that. But for now, I just wanted to give that very quick tip. You have the questions, go out and answer them in a way that gives you joy. Is it making a video? Is it writing a blog? Is it being a guest on a podcast? Is it being a guest blogger? Like, whatever it is that gives you joy, answer the question fully.
I absolutely love that. I love the idea of answering questions on video. I love the idea of making a list of those questions, that keep your clients up at 3 o'clock in the morning. What do they ask? And then making a video about the answer, about how you would answer that. I mean, it seems so simple, but that's literally a boatload of content that you don't have to go out and think about.
And when you've been doing your work long enough,
Mhm.
you know the answers. Don't go looking for the answers on someone else's site,
Yeah.
because you're going to get sucked into that I'm not good enough kind of thing, right? They're going to
Yes.
get into that imposter syndrome. Oh, they answered it so much better. No, just answer it in your truest self.
Mhm. I think that's what I like so much about being on people's podcasts is because they come up with questions that to ask me about my business, and I get to answer organically in the
Yeah,
moment. That can be magical.
right.
And I learned a long time ago just to do that for myself. And that's what you're saying. Um, ask yourself questions about your business and then answer organically in the moment. And that's one of the reasons why I don't prep my guests on this show, like what we're going to talk about. I want it to unfold organically. I've been doing this so long that organic conversation is way more fun than planning it out and having it be a scripted or a canned answer.
I agree. I agree. So now
Awesome.
I have another suggestion for people who are doing something similar. They're going live regularly with guests. Maybe they're podcasting, or they just have some kind of a spotlight series. Is that, again, is such search optimization gold. And if you're putting it on YouTube, make sure that you're filling in the whole description with all those yummy keywords and a call to action. I can't believe I've gotten this far in our conversation without saying call to action. I almost I almost did when I said that people have to get on a call with you because they don't know you well enough yet.
Yeah,
I almost said that, but call to action. Frequently asked questions and call to action. Okay, our conversation's done. I covered it all.
yeah. Seriously. Seriously,
Right?
people want to know what to do. And if you're leaving your content, whether it's a video, written content, short form content, long form content, blogs, I don't care what you're doing, tell your people what to do. Somebody who's reading, watching, digesting your content, tell them what you want them to do. Get more information here, book a call here. Tell them you want that future engagement, because I didn't do that in the beginning. I didn't even know what a CTA was. Clueless when I came in the online space.
Yeah.
And I never had a call to action. Well, guess what? Nobody ever took action because I didn't tell them what to do.
Yes. Yes. So, so, so important.
So important.
And
What?
then, so if I have some more time, I'll say
Yeah.
more because this is the thing. I can just talk all day about this stuff. So, call to action. Now, if you're just out in digital world, so let's say social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and you have one link to share. Often it is the get on a call with me, but still, that's a big commitment for some people to get on a phone call. I know for me, it's a big commitment to
Yeah.
get on a phone. It's a time commitment and also it's an energy commitment. And what if this person tries to push me into something like, right?
Yes.
So sometimes the call to action is going to be, um, here's another guide for you. Download this, upload this video, download this worksheet, take this quiz, right? So
Mhm.
now we're getting into my area, which is lead generation, bringing people closer to you so that you have now this closed place, not the internet, not, well,
Yeah.
the internet, but not the social media space. Now you're in their space, you're in their inbox, or however you choose to bring them in. Some people do like Slack channels or WhatsApp or
Mhm.
whatever. Now you're bringing them in a place where you can start that two-way communication. So
Yeah.
lead generation, and then I would say also like an automated welcome series. Actually, that's my webinar next month. Uh,
Oh,
an automated, why you need an automated welcome series is for exactly this reason. Because people, they don't even know if they want to date you yet, never mind marry you.
right. Right. Well, let's make sure we put a link to that in the comments
Will do.
of this video, because I don't want to miss that. And I'm sure our listeners won't want to miss that either. Um, I would love to touch on exactly what you just said. You know, when it comes to dating or comes to friendships, there's a build-up phase, right? There's a, oh, I like that person. Maybe I want to spend more time with them, or maybe I want to go on a date with them, or maybe she would be a cool addition to my friend group. Let me ask her to lunch. And there's a warm-up phase to that. And if you try to skip over the warm-up phase, the get to know you phase, and I like to say use social media, you know, use Facebook, use LinkedIn to have people want to spend more time with you. So, what do you need to talk about? What do you need to post? What do you need to share so that people want to come in and meet you on Zoom for an event, for a conversation, whether it's one on one or in a group, it doesn't matter. And if you start to think about social media in that way, it's like going to the grocery store. You go to the grocery store, there's tons of people there, there's tons of things on the shelf. You have a list of what you need, and either you're going to stay focused on the list or you're just going to go up and down each aisle throwing stuff into your cart.
Mm.
That's how I see social media.
Yes.
And so I have my lists of people that I engage with, I interact with. I have also my list of people that I follow, so that when I go to social media, I have a mission.
Yes.
I want to see what Susan posted on LinkedIn today. I want to see what Pablo posted on social media today. And I want to go through my list and be intentional about it. And I
That's
teach that and I
yes.
encourage that from everyone. And I'm not rigid with the list. New people come in all the time.
Right.
Some people move out, new people move in, just like the clients that are going to be attracted to you, making you feel, our second word of the show, more prosperous. Because if people are always coming in, circling through your automated series, or circling through your events or your community, however you decide to do it, new people are always coming in. Clients rise to the top. And what happens, which I love when it happens, and I'm sure you do too. Hey, Susan, how do I work with you?
That's right. Where do we get
That,
started? That's
that's
right. Where do
way
we start?
more fun
So
than,
fun. Yeah.
right?
So fun. So I
Yeah.
want to give I'm going to give another tip because I can't help myself. So I was trying to figure out how to stop the scroll. Like I had a
Hmm.
webinar a couple months ago, stop the scroll. And how do you stop the scroll? Because it's easy to get derailed, right? So
Oh,
you
yeah.
mentioned you have people now. I don't pay for LinkedIn, but I did a workaround so that I wasn't able to make like tags and groups. But I did a workaround on LinkedIn where I identify people, as you mentioned, that I want to interact with because they're smart, they can they're supporting me, I can support them, and I would love to get in on their conversations.
Mm.
I love the conversations. I'm learning, I'm adding, I'm taking from the conversation. So what I did was I created a you can open up all their so open up all the LinkedIn pages.
Hmm.
This is for the tech geeks out there, right? So if you want to get around Salesforce, so you Sales Navigator is what I meant to say. Open up all the tabs, open them all up to activity,
Hmm.
and then so I have a few of them because it can take a while. So I have a few of 10 tabs open, and then I bookmark the entire tabs up there. So now what I
Mm.
can do is I can go to LinkedIn tabs 1. I say open all tabs, and now 10 people on my list, I'm only looking at their activity, so I can go in and comment and start a conversation. And I set
Wow.
it's on my calendar twice a week to go in, and I time it for 15 minutes to go in and uh, do that, to
I
interact where it's
am
appropriate.
I am loving that.
It's such a geeky thing. It takes a little while because it's heavy, so it takes a while for it to load. Um, but it works.
So I typically, I have my list of people that I'm following, that I have the bell on,
Yes.
to get notified. And
Yes.
then I have my mental list of the people that I interact with almost every day, whatever they post, if it's meaningful to me, right? But that takes the thinking out of it. I've
That's right.
already decided ahead of time what tabs to have open. I'm doing that.
Oh, it's really good. I used to do that when I was running other people's social media accounts. I would do that on a spreadsheet for Facebook. They weren't
Mhm.
involved with LinkedIn at the time. So on a spreadsheet, I would have all the different places each week
Mm.
that I would show up as that company. That was a spreadsheet. So that was again open, click, click open, click open, click open. Um,
And just to their activity, that way you're not
mm,
viewing their profile.
that's right.
You're just looking at that activity,
Yeah.
which that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Wow. Guys, if you're listening to this and you heard that tip, you need to be following Susan 110%, because I've interacted with you, I don't know how many times. I have watched your replays of your workshops that you give for the community and that you give for public consumption. I read all your content, and that literally just got written on my post-it note for today.
Great.
That is happening today. So good. That is literally going to save me mental decision making time. And if you know anything about being productive, being more productive, always going to that next level, you want to eliminate as many decisions as possible. Make everything already decided in advance. And that's going to do that for me with my commenting. I
Oh,
love
I'm
it.
glad. Oh, I'm glad that I could help. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, and especially when I work with clients and I practice that active listening, I see where their pain points are, and I can
Mhm.
bring my, 15 plus years of digital marketing into it to make it easier for them. You know what?
Yeah.
A lot of people are still on Twitter. Is it converting for you? Do you know how to measure? Like, if it's not, take
Yeah.
it off, right? It's just too noisy. It's the name of my business, Rise Above Noise. Like, what can you do? I named my business this because I have 4 kids and I used to always have extra kids in my house, and it was a loud place. And when the kids would go at it, my voice would go down, my
Mhm.
eyebrow would go up, and they would all stop what they were doing and they would listen. And
Wow.
they would invariably say, "Stop yelling at me." Because that's like rising above the noise is a way to kind of rise above the chaos and confusion that's happening that we call social media, and
Mhm.
bring it into what what people really need to hear at that moment.
Mm, I love that. Well, Vaughn Fahey is joining us on LinkedIn,
Hey, Bon.
and he said, "Wow, he is an amazing video editor." And Robert Garcia is joining us from Facebook, an incredible business coach,
Love it.
and he says he loves our glasses. Something Susan and I have in common is funky glasses.
Yes.
I only have about 7 pair. I don't know how many you
Yeah,
have.
probably. Thanks. Since I
Yeah.
found Zenny, I'm all good.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a client who is a, optical store, so I get my pick of whatever's in the store,
Very
which
cool.
is very exciting. So thank you so much for that tip, Susan. I love it, and if you wanna hear more, about what Susan does, check out Rise Above the Noise, check out the Idea Lab community, and Susan, what are you gonna leave our audience with for a call to action today?
Well, go ahead and I mean, I would say visit visit my website. That is something I tell my clients not to do. I'm gonna post in the link, post in the show notes a link to my resources page, which is basically like a link tree where you can get all the free stuff and some paid stuff and learn how to work with me. But let's have a discovery call. Let's have a curiosity call and learn a little bit about each other. I promise you, you will leave with some tip that's going to open up a channel for you to feel better about your marketing and have something to work on right away. And that's just in our free curiosity call. I'll put the link in the show notes there. That is my call to action. Let's have a chat.
Wonderful. I love that. And again, Susan is one of the incredible experts in the Idea Lab community that is now officially off social media and growing by about 50 members a month, which is incredible. Quality people, quality experts, and micro communities for whatever your entrepreneurial learning quest is at the moment. So, Susan, thank you for being an expert. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for being on this crazy journey of
This
community
has
with
been the
me.
best journey. Thank you for including me, Suzanne.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for joining me today. And everyone, if you're watching the replay, put hashtag replay. If you have any questions for Susan or for me, put them in the comments. We're going to come back and check on this video, and we'll happy to answer any of your questions. Have an awesome day. And again, thanks for joining us on the Productive and Prosperous Entrepreneur Coffee Chat Live.